Dickinson has always been about big ideas and bold deeds. Revolutionary initiatives are etched in our past. They are also the roadmap to our future. To keep the Dickinson experience revolutionary, President Margie Ensign put out a challenge to our global community, and Dickinsonians responded. A high-level competition created to put innovative ideas into action. 49 proposals, 5,000 Dickinsonians weighed in, and now 4 finalists have emerged. Tonight, we embark on the final stage of the Revolutionary Challenge, the finalist presentations. Join us as we take the next step in Dickinson's revolutionary journey. Welcome to the final round of the Revolutionary Challenge.
Good evening, and welcome to the final stages of the Revolutionary Challenge. Thanks to all of you for your interest and support this year. A very special thanks to our Presidential Panel on Innovation, who looked at 49 proposals and your 5,000 comments, and has evaluated and guided and shaped them. So tonight, you'll be looking at 4 very important proposals. A really special thanks to Jennifer Reynolds, who's guided the PPI. Her dedication to Dickinson and her leadership and vision for this college is unparalleled. Thank you, Jennifer. Who would have thought 1 year ago, when we launched the Revolutionary Challenge, that we would be in this revolutionary moment? Dickinson has experienced many of them throughout our long history. The Civil War, the pandemic of 1918, the Great Depression. We are in that moment now, and these proposals and our ability to innovate is more important than ever. This is a moment like past moments where Dickinson comes out stronger and better and more revolutionary. As we think about the future, these programs that you'll be looking at tonight will be important. And Dickinson's education is more important at this moment in history than any other time. Thank you for your interest and your support of Dickinson College, and enjoy the evening.
Good evening, and thank you, Margie. I'm delighted to be here tonight to celebrate this important moment for Dickinson with all of you. When I think of Dickinson and its distinguished history, I think of ideas. Useful, bold, even edgy ideas that come to fruition when there is freedom to create and challenge, curiosity, the space to think, and the imagination and intellect to innovate. This is our college. So it's fitting that the Revolutionary Challenge began as an idea. We wanted to do something different, something we'd never tried, something that would continue to represent the college as a leader in innovative work. Dickinson has long been widely recognized as a leader in global education and sustainability studies, but it is time to explore what's next. We wanted the next great idea, or ideas, for Dickinson to come from you. Because the Revolutionary Challenge was a new endeavor and might take a while to catch on, our expectations were pretty modest for the number of submissions we might receive. Our campus experts thought we should be pleased if we received about 15. I'm thrilled to say that this estimate was way off the mark, as we actually received 49 very thoughtful submissions. These proposals ranged from tiny houses to campus sustainability projects, from what to do with the President's House to seminars on American democracy, and from alumni mentorship to student unions of the future. The ideas were broad in topic, varied in interest, and creative in thought. While not all could become finalists, we were truly impressed by the possibilities and potential contained in so many of the proposals. They were culturally representative of our campus values and mission, they built on our strengths, and they were supported both internally and externally by creative minds and inspired energy. Last October, the President's Panel on Innovation met on campus to sift through your feedback and further evaluate the proposals. After much discussion, deliberation, and a few passionately stated bouts of advocacy, we reached consensus on the final 4 ideas about which you will hear more tonight. we agreed that these proposals fully embrace the potential of a Dickinson education and are worthy of serious consideration. Dickinson must remain a leader in higher education, taking bold, perhaps uncomfortable, and revolutionary steps to do so. I'd like to thank the President's Panel on Innovation for their input, guidance, and dedication over the past year, and our finalist teams for their energy, perseverance, and commitment. Their love for the college and passion for its future is truly inspiring. I also want to extend my gratitude to Margie, to my fellow trustees, and the entire college leadership team for carrying this forward even in the midst of a global pandemic. The future for Dickinson is indeed exciting. Finally, I want to thank you, the Dickinson community, for engaging, contributing, and leading with your voices. Here's to great ideas.
Well, everyone, it's finally time. You know, as a news anchor, a television host, a journalist, I just love a good story. And tonight we're going to have 4 amazing stories to share with you. Each of our finalists was given an opportunity to really create a short and powerful video that could teach you, the audience, about topics that they've immersed themselves in for over a year. These proposals touch all corners of our campus, incorporating multiple disciplines that make Dickinson's education great. As you watch each video, we ask you to really listen critically. Think about the future of the college's needs, what our liberal arts education truly supports, and the revolutionary solutions our global community now demands. After all of the videos, we're going to come back for a live Q&A session with all the representatives from the 4 teams. You're also going to see a Q&A box at the right of your screen, and this is going to be happening live during our segment. Any of the questions you ask during this session will be sent privately to a Dickinson College representative. We'll be sure to get to as many questions as we possibly can. And of course, as always, we thank you for your engagement and, of course, supporting Dickinson College's future. So without further ado, are you ready? Our Revolutionary Challenge finalists. Enjoy.
My Dickinson College experience might sound a lot like yours. I spent time abroad, I took classes outside of my major, and I gained the knowledge and experience that I applied to my post-grad life every single day. Now, immersed in a career of technology and startups and policy, I want to do everything that I can to make sure that all students receive that same guidance and have that same space to find their own pathways to success. Tonight, I am very pleased to introduce Future Lab, a proposal that is completely aligned with what we care about as Dickinsonians, the future. In our world, problems get more complex and more ethically charged every single day. Future Lab will create a space where every student can see how their passions intersect and align with entrepreneurship, so that we can all do what we love, change the world for the better through ethics and problem solving and logic. Dickinson built my confidence, helping me realize that I could not only exist in spaces where people like me are underrepresented, but I could also thrive. It is my distinct pleasure to stand behind the project that will do just that for every student moving forward. I am very pleased to introduce, for your consideration, Future Lab.
At Dickinson, we've always encouraged ideas and innovation. Our forward-looking founder, Benjamin Rush, promoted an innovative curriculum to ensure all students had the necessary knowledge to become engaged citizens. To this day, we've continued this legacy. Through labs, courses, and grant programs, we've given our students the freedom to push themselves to grow, to be inventive, to collaborate, and solve problems. So it's no coincidence that many of our graduates are leading startups, forming new not-for-profits, and launching new governmental and non-governmental programs the world over. Like all Dickinsonians, today's students ask that critical question: why? They want to know what's next, and they want to have a hand in transforming our world. In the past 4 years, Dickinson's externship program has grown more than 340%, and our internship program has grown more than 450%. The demand for hands-on experience and real-world immersion is undeniable, and we believe it is our responsibility to respond in the most innovative, effective, and revolutionary way possible. Future Lab is an inclusive and holistic approach to teaching, giving students the applicable experience and intellectual tools needed to respond to our changing environment. Future Lab is more than a place for learning or a single academic program. It's a new method of teaching where faculty will prepare students not just for what now, but for what's next. While Dickinson already prides itself on hands-on learning and global application, Future Lab will train students to respond to today's enormous challenges, such as the Fourth Industrial Revolution, climate change, shifting demographics, scarce resources, and global health challenges. Future Lab will focus primarily on multidisciplinary partnerships to enhance the student experience, setting a ripple effect in motion, where Dickinson College can become the nexus for insight and entrepreneurialism with student courses, practicums, conferences, and certification programs. Today's students and their families identify career outcomes as their top motivation for attending college, and the Future Lab will create a hands-on trajectory leading to greater job placement, more confident candidates, and a more engaged alumni base. The ability for Dickinson to rise above the competition for new student and job candidate recruitment. In 2020, the urgency of this mission has never been clearer. Our team looked at today's leaders, realizing there was a prevalence of reaction instead of action. Future Lab will teach Dickinsonians to be forward-looking in their thinking and to act with creativity and flexibility to solve real problems. We'll use design thinking, agile project management, systems thinking, dynamic modeling, and futures thinking integrated with Dickinson's interdisciplinary framework to transform the student experience and the campus culture, delivering globally recognized certifications for our students along the way. The college mission promises a useful education in the liberal arts for a better future, and this proposal leverages that promise. Our idea isn't just evolutionary, it is revolutionary. Future Lab exemplifies an initiative that fully supports and extends the college's strategic plan in innovative education. This bold new initiative can transform our students and our college, preparing Dickinsonians to solve problems which are current, significant, and consequential, so our students can continue to do well and do good.
Hi, my name is Barbara Slusher, and I'm a scientist working at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, where I lead a laboratory that discovers new medicines for neurological diseases, things like Alzheimer's disease, ALS, and Parkinson's disease. So what gets me out of bed every morning? It's the idea that if I work hard enough, smart enough, creative enough, and I collaborate enough, that perhaps my team will be able to come up with a drug that helps these dreaded disorders. Scientific discovery is so exhilarating to me that almost every night I stay up late reading scientific articles and planning out the next day's experiments. I love what I do. I can't imagine doing anything else. Sometimes I can't believe that they actually pay me to do this job.
I often reflect on my time at Dickinson and realize that the crucial power behind that transformative experience lay in dedicated mentorship. It was professors, administrators, staff, coaches, students, and alumni who showed me and taught me how to lead wiser. Never could I have imagined that coming to an American college would gift me with this kind of lifelong relationships. And for that, I am profoundly grateful. The Dickinson Leadership Development Program enriches the liberal arts experience by providing a methodical approach to help every Dickinsonian become a grounded and confident leader. It is my great honor to introduce to you this program. Enjoy.
The field of leadership has been studied for over 1,000 years, and yet it still finds a way into our everyday lives. With this longevity and permanence, one has to wonder, is there anything left to learn? A group of us say yes. We believe there's a missing piece to leadership, a piece that, if mastered, will enable students to articulate the benefits of our liberal arts education, ultimately preparing us to better tackle current and emerging complexities together. The Dickinson Leadership Development Program reaches back to the founding mission of the college to provide a useful education to citizen leaders. Supported by ethics across campus, the curriculum program, and co-curricular activities, we want to use the concept of citizen leaders as a platform upon which we can build, because we want our students to lead beyond their chosen path. We want them to help lead each other. Our alumni base is diverse, accomplished, and strong. But up until now, there hasn't been a way for them to articulate the intangibles of their education. Students and alumni can often recount what they've done at Dickinson or the experiences they've had, but there is an opportunity to deliver a more compelling and cohesive story. This is part of what our proposal seeks to change. When populations individually and collectively think and talk about the same set of ideas, a fluence of understanding is generated. Forthright conversation rooted in mutual respect and contributions from our diverse community will prepare individuals to successfully participate in relationship-based leadership. The Leadership Development Program is underpinned by 3 sets of values: individual, group, and community. As students are encouraged to explore their individual values, they will enhance their mindfulness of self, preparing them to engage more thoughtfully and effectively with others. This leads them to our second value, the group, by which a collection of individuals identifies a common purpose. And finally, those guided by a common purpose can create community, which we believe is the key to engaged citizenship. Leveraging all 3 of these values will allow our students and alumni to truly influence change. A base-level introduction to the Leadership Development Program will allow participants to integrate core concepts into their own domains throughout campus. Repetition and familiarity with these concepts will infuse an ongoing prompt throughout coursework and student life, continuously urging students to revisit their values and definitions of leadership throughout their lives at Dickinson. And this program and progression of learning will be open to all members of Dickinson, past and present, encouraging the voices of our community to help us create a community that is diverse, representative, and respectful. These values and emphasis on relationship-based leadership will remain relevant to new courses, majors, initiatives, and opportunities for student engagement, and to Dickinson's evolving core competencies. They will flourish and evolve into an approach to leadership development that is both distinctive and revolutionary, and that prepares students in collaboration with others to address local to global 21st century challenges. By allowing students to learn, engage, reflect, and record their thinking about their ongoing experiences and growth through an iterative process, we will have created a way by which graduates will be able to explain to all parties how and why they are ready to make contributions in their next life opportunities, and able to succinctly and clearly share their leadership story with family, friends, employers, or graduate school admissions officers in a way that is uniquely and undeniably Dickinsonian.
My revolutionary moment was when I applied to be a writer on a late night show called The Rundown with Robin Thede, despite not having an agent, which you usually need to get writing jobs, despite not being asked to apply for the job, as someone forwarded me the information, despite it being very close to the deadline, which meant I had to work really hard and really fast to finish it, and despite the fact that like everything on paper said that I was not set up to get the job, I did get the job, and it's because I took the chance. When all those no's were in front of me, I said, let's try maybe. And I feel like that is a revolutionary moment that led me on such a beautiful journey and trajectory in my career.
Hi, my name is Akram Rabbani, class of 2017, and I want to take a little bit of your time to talk about Farm Lab. Halfway through my Dickinson experience, I signed up to be a summer farmer and completely fell in love with the team, with the mess in the dirt, with the smells. The farm enriched my education and my personal growth in ways I never could have imagined. Every day was riddled with problems to be solved. Work sparked conversations on social issues and food justice. I learned about teamwork and compromise. Digging a hole became about succeeding, about accomplishments, about work ethic. I only wish all students could be exposed to our agricultural community. If chosen, Farm Lab will allow that to happen. The farm bridges the gap between campus and community. It creates a sense of legacy for all of us who work there, and a group that gives back to Dickinson and Carlisle. To tell you the truth, I don't think the team at the farm knows how much they have helped me to grow into the person I am today. It is my pleasure to introduce your next Revolutionary Challenge finalists, Farm Lab.
Dickinson's reach extends well past our campus boundaries. 6 miles east of campus is a facility full of potential, where our students, faculty, and community members immerse themselves in multidisciplinary research, learning, and innovation. This is the Dickinson College Farm. 20 years ago, 2 students who wanted to practice sustainable agriculture were given a small plot near Dickinson Park. Within 6 years, this 3/4-acre garden was bursting at the seams and primed for expansion. Acknowledging sustainable food systems as a defining concern for the 21st century, and knowing a college farm program could help students engage in solutions through hands-on experiences, Dickinson College formally launched a college farm program in 2007, watching students and faculty grow the land incrementally from a 1-acre plot to an 80-acre diversified operation. The Dickinson College Farm has become a gathering space for students, faculty, and even community members to engage life skills like mentorship, accountability, and learning firsthand the hard work that goes into growing food that feeds others. It's where a professor from the sciences brings her class to learn about ecology, biodiversity, food production, and soil health. Where faculty from the arts and humanities instruct students in the fundamentals of landscape, painting, or the history of agriculture. The farm is a place where interdisciplinary learning, collaborative initiatives, innovative research, special events, and even revenue generation are achieved. In the fall of 2019 alone, the farm hosted over 1,000 visitors comprised of students, faculty, families, and community members. Not only does the farm teach about sustainability, the farm is sustainable. Our sales of farm-raised produce and meat finance our programmatic and production operations, and since 2010, we've generated surplus revenue contributing to the college's general fund. At the farm, we've accomplished a great deal in the past 13 years, but while our potential is limitless, our practicality is limited. Programming at the farm is limited to specific times of the year when weather cooperates and rain is nowhere in the forecast. Infrastructural limitations like the absence of indoor space prevents Dickinson Farm from facilitating year-round use and limits Dickinson's ability to maximize this campus resource. We believe a permanent structure will allow us to put our values into action, creating a space that acts as a living laboratory capable of demonstrating Dickinson's active commitment to sustainability and duty to cultivate global citizens and leaders. This is Farm Lab. Farm Lab will be an ecologically designed facility where flexible spaces will be integrated in a structure that is waterproof and climate controlled for academic coursework and research. Not only a place for classes, the facility will be equipped with storage space to support faculty and students from the sciences to the arts. The adaptability of the space will enable it to accommodate a range of uses, from lectures and labs to event performances and art installations. Technologies and practices designed to address global issues like climate change will be woven into the fabric of the building, from alternative building materials and solar applications to gray water recycling and green roofs. Dickinson College Farm is sought after by faculty and students for coursework, labs, and independent research. This addition will allow us to overcome space limitations related to the farm and provide students with tangible examples and hands-on experiences that demonstrate and complement what they're learning in class. Furthermore, indoor space will give us the ability to teach remotely. FarmLab will house equipment, media hardware, and software, and provide the wireless infrastructure to broadcast lessons and labs when in-person gathering is not possible. The FarmLab team has already engaged 2 architects about the design and functions of the desired space, and is ready to take FarmLab from conceptual to actual. These 2 alumni have the tools necessary to integrate cutting-edge technology into this facility and set the stage for a space not limited by weather cooperation. FarmLab will elevate existing operations in a way that forges the path for inquiry, reflection, and action. This idea will allow Dickinson College to advance as a leader in higher education, becoming the example from which others can advance their understanding and practice of sustainability. It is a place where we can facilitate research opportunities, innovative tinkering, the cross-pollination of ideas, and increase access for students with varying abilities and interests. Ultimately, this is the revolutionary idea that supports a common good while addressing complex issues and developing innovative solutions.
The best advice I ever got was in the form of a question. I was at a point in my life where, despite my success, I was almost desperate to keep building and growing and acquiring. Until a friend asked me the question, "How many steak dinners can you eat?" As I thought about what he meant, I realized that making room for other people's success is incredibly powerful and, in the end, more satisfying than just focusing on my own. Life is not a zero-sum game, unless we turn it into one.
Greetings, fellow Dickinsonians. My name is Cody Nichols, class of 2015. When I started my studies at Dickinson, I knew I wanted to be a math major. But I'm not sure I realized the extent of what numbers could actually do. Now, as an analyst, I use numbers every single day. I use them to tell stories, to converse, to help executives understand what to invest in, and also tell them how their products are performing. And I've realized just how necessary it is to use data responsibly. Believe it or not, math permeates every discipline in every field, from news to politics, graphic design, retail. Everything you experience has a number behind it. And that is why the next initiative is so crucial. Data analytics is the ability to take numbers and explore how and why they matter. It gives us the ability to generate insights, to distinguish fake news from real statistics, and it helps all of us do the work that we love better. Numbers don't lie, but how they are interpreted will drive the future. And next, I am pleased to introduce the next finalist, the Data Science Initiative.
We live in a world in which data is increasingly prevalent. Numbers are how things are explained to us on the news or in the paper. Rising seas, tallied votes, number of viewers. Statistics holds the power to inform, but unfortunately, they don't always tell the whole story. We've become united as educators in the realization that it's up to us to prepare students for this data-filled world by teaching them how to think critically about data and how to use it responsibly. This ethical and critical approach to data is data analytics, a field which can provide a true understanding of some of the greatest challenges facing us today: climate change, transmittable disease, crime, genetics, and politics. In the past decade, Dickinson has seen a substantial increase in the number of students and faculty interested in data analytics. From mathematics to biology, business to political science, many members of our community have expressed a unified desire to become more educated in how to interact with and analyze data. This compels us to respond to the challenge. We want to meet the needs of our students and enhance the academic program at the college by proposing a new data analytics major for the Revolutionary Challenge. This initiative is at the heart of Dickinson's mission, creating a useful education for the common good. We believe helping students become critical and ethical consumers of data exemplifies this objective. We've designed this major in a way that emphasizes an interdisciplinary education, incorporating competence in analytical skills and content expertise, while emphasizing critical thinking, analysis, and communication. The data science major will leverage our strength as a liberal arts institution by showing how we can adapt to and respond to the demands of our world. We are forging a path that will allow our students to change the world beyond Dickinson, giving them the knowledge and tools to translate what might initially appear as technical jargon into something the end user can understand. From admissions to athletics to the Quantitative Reasoning Center, we've worked with over 45 individuals across campus to create a vision that would allow this major to fuse with the initiatives and programming already here at Dickinson. This data analytics major will emphasize an approachable and a well-rounded liberal arts education. Students will make connections with courses from the humanities, social sciences, and natural sciences. They'll be required to build their knowledge in philosophy and ethics, ensuring they're trained to use data responsibly. The major will require an experiential component through project-based work, ultimately preparing students to present a research project that has practical applications on campus and beyond. This merging of hands-on practice with a major informed by the full breadth of the liberal arts is what will set Dickinson College apart from the competition as we compete for prospective students and resources. By enhancing Dickinson's academic offerings with a major of such cross-disciplinary nature, the possibilities for application and for partnerships are endless. The Data Science Initiative leverages our leadership in the liberal arts and embodies the college's mission. It will prepare our students for a world that demands informed decision makers, innovative, critical thinkers, and engaged global citizens. So tomorrow's data-rich world will be a safer, more informed, and more responsible place.
All right, welcome back, everyone, for the second part of our program where we ask our finalists questions from you. I first want to introduce you to the panelists, and representing our Future Labs team, I want to welcome Dr. Damon Yarnell. Damon is an associate provost and executive director for the Center of Advising Internships and Lifelong Career Development. Welcome, Damon.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Nice to see you. All right, let's move on to represent our leadership development program proposal this evening. We have Dr. Michael Franantuono, Associate Professor, Department of International Business and Management and Department of International Studies. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Sukanya. Thank you. And studio audience, I'd like to share. I look forward to
All right, fantastic. Let's move on to Farm Lab. I'd like to welcome Jen Halpin. She's the director of the Dickinson College Farm. Hello, Jen.
Hi, thank you for having me.
All right, nice to have you. And finally, from our Data Science Initiative, Dr. Emily Marshall, Associate Professor of Economics and Faculty Director of Quantitative Reasoning at Quantitative Reasoning Center. There you go. Good evening, Emily.
Good evening, thank you.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on these awesome videos. I learned so much just by watching it, and I'm very, very impressed, and I could see why they're all revolutionary. And congratulations to you and your teams for making it to the final round. Now, I'm going to start off with a question. I'd like it to open up to all four of you because we know the videos were only able to run for a couple of short minutes, and there's so many questions that we all have. So if you could, what one thing would you want to add to your video and tell your audience more about your proposal? We're going to start off our first line of questioning with Emily.
Sure, thank you so much. I think the one thing that you can't really tell from any video is the amount of excitement that this potential new major has generated. It's truly hard to overstate the enthusiasm that there is about this idea. We've spoken with alumni who have said that they wish that this major were available when they were on campus, and current students who are wondering if it will be ready in time for them to participate. We've also talked with alumni who are excited to have data analytics majors intern at their companies and potentially hire them after they graduate. There are so many departments across campus that have really committed to helping this major thrive. And the faculty from all different disciplines are really eager to teach data-oriented classes and to be able to work with students on empirical projects. So the passion for this proposal is so evident, and it has come from all different kinds of areas. We're really excited about the next steps for the Data Science Initiative.
Now we can definitely feel the excitement. All right, thank you, Emily. Michael, what's the one thing that you would add to your proposal and the video, and what would you like to share to our audience tonight?
Thank you. Before I answer that question, I do want to say that 18 months ago, two very special alumni, Robert Paul Kovac, began work on their proposal for the Revolutionary Challenge. In November, it was named a finalist. The last 10 months, an implementation team has translated that proposal into the Leadership Development Program, which is a goal articulated in Dickinson's most strategic plan. Robert and Paul remained engaged. They deserve a shout out. I learned a lot from them. Thank you, gentlemen. With respect to your question, I would add a bit of detail about the essence and the structure of the program. Relationship-based leadership means that in any project, any person involved has a role to play. If they work hard, if they do their best, they have filled their responsibility. They are a leader. The program rests on a foundation course. The foundation course will incorporate the ideas highlighted by Stephen Smith. Okay? Relationship-based leadership, individual, community, and group values, efforts to influence change, and as well, recording experiences. Now, at first, the entry program will be developed and delivered in person to participants who are interested. Over time, the program, the bumps will be ironed out, and the program will then be offered online. That means that any student, any member of the Dickinson community will be able to navigate. The program will be scalable. Those students who then choose over a 4-year period to invest in themselves and in the common good will have a chance to attain levels of leadership. It's like the color of belts in the Asian martial arts. How will they do that? Well, they will take increasing numbers of courses designated, offered by faculty from across the college. 2, they will participate in co-curricular and extracurricular activities. 3, they will seriously record their experiences. We anticipate that students will self-select. We expect that Dickinson will celebrate their growth. And then last thought is that if we think back to the commencement address of Pierce Brosnan in 2019, he urged our Dickinson graduates to go forth with the depth of their intellect, the depth of their character to tackle 21st century challenges. This program will encourage and empower students to develop that depth and to engage. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. All right, Damon, what's the one thing that you would like to add to this conversation and tell your audience about?
Thank you. Revolutionary, not evolutionary. That's what the President's panel asked for, and Future Lab is the project that delivered. My job at Dickinson is to understand the future of work and how to prepare students for it. Future Lab teaches entrepreneurial problem solving and strategic foresight. These are skills that today's students need to hit the ground running and to build their careers over the coming decades. Why entrepreneurial problem solving? Regardless of sector, for-profit, not-for-profit, industry, government, or NGO, the work of tomorrow will increasingly resemble what we today call entrepreneurship. No matter what you do, you'll need to add value through innovation, and you'll need to stay agile. Why strategic foresight? As the pace of change continues to accelerate, if you're only reacting to current events, you'll actually be falling behind. Strategic foresight is a well-established interdisciplinary set of practices that helps teams envision a range of future possibilities, choose the ones that are most desirable, develop action plans, and then adapt in the face of unexpected challenges and opportunities. You may not have heard of foresight, but you've heard of the universities that teach it, schools like Oxford, Stanford, and Georgetown. And you've heard of the organizations that use it, McKinsey, Deloitte, the United Nations, USAID, FEMA, and any number of Fortune 500 companies. At Future Lab, we'll do 4 things. We'll teach foresight and entrepreneurial problem solving. We'll also offer credentials in valuable related areas such as design thinking and agile project management. We'll pair teams of faculty, students, and alumni with external partners to solve real-world problems on real-world projects. And we'll study our results so that we can improve our methods through research. Future Lab draws on Dickinson's existing strengths in the liberal arts in order to differentiate us as an institution, just like global education and sustainability education did in the past. In fact, Future Lab has already started fundraising with foundations and donors committed to sustaining the liberal arts through innovation. What's more, Future Lab will generate income for the college through consulting and credentialing. It will come as no surprise post-COVID that businesses and governments around the world are increasing their investment in foresight and entrepreneurship. Our team proposed Future Lab before COVID so that Dickinson would always be ready for what comes next. Future Lab will accelerate student success, and it will enable alumni to find new ways to engage with the college that's truly revolutionary.
Thank you, Damon. All right, Jen, if you can add one more thing to your video proposal to share with our audience a little bit more, what would you add?
Well, first of all, I'd like to express gratitude on behalf of the Farm Lab team for being selected as one of the finalists for the Revolutionary Challenge. So thank you. And I think it's important to underscore some of the uniqueness of the Dickinson College Farm. Very few liberal arts institutions and state schools have a program that mirrors the robust characteristics of the Dickinson College Farm. And in fact, we actually host a lot of institutions that come to the farm to learn about what we're doing so that they might implement them at their schools, whether it's composting or food systems programs or renewable energy applications. And so for its work, the farm has really been recognized and received a lot of awards. And so as the video shared, we are a working farm, but I think it's worth underscoring that we're not just a working farm. We're also a place that's sought after for academic needs from faculty and students. We're also a place where students come and learn key professional skills that they can take with them beyond Dickinson. And we're also a place where numerous educational programs and outreach events originate and have an ultimate impact on our campus community and wider Carlisle community. And so the farm is really a distinct aspect of Dickinson College and has really contributed to Dickinson's national recognition as a leader in sustainability. Yet there are true limitations at the college farm that really inhibit our ability to meet the goals of the college, which is basically to enable faculty to teach from a remote location and actually give students a place to come and gather. And so what we've identified over the last decade with Dickinson faculty, staff, students, and administrators is the need for a farm facility to help us meet the goals. And specifically, that goal is to create a venue where professors can teach from and a place where students can gather safely year-round and despite the weather. And so what makes Farm Lab so exciting is that it actually facilitates innovative systems of teaching and learning, and is by its virtue in its design and function, it's a facility that in and of itself is a comprehensive lesson from which others can learn. The farm already helps put Dickinson on the map, and we believe that Farm Lab gives Dickinson College the opportunity to really realize the full potential of this educational asset.
All right, fantastic. We're going to move on to the next two questions, and they really focus on the cross-disciplinary aspect of all of your proposals. Damon, we're going to start off with you. I'd like to ask you how you feel like Dickinson's liberal arts context complements the Future Lab proposal.
Great, thanks. Well, if you're a current student or family, you've probably already heard why Future Lab is such a good fit for a liberal arts education at Dickinson. President Ensign often talks about how Dickinson positions students to study the big structural forces that are shaping our world today. These are forces like migration, climate change, inequality, artificial intelligence, or the shift from Asia to Africa as the center of global population growth. Strategic foresight calls these forces change drivers, and it offers interdisciplinary methods to understand, anticipate, and influence them by building projects that add values to people's lives. Future Lab will help all students at Dickinson, regardless of major, activate their liberal arts educations. So if you're a philosophy major, Future Lab needs you. If you're a fine arts major, Future Lab needs you. Political science, economics, Africana studies, computer science, biology, and on across the curriculum in every major and every department.
Well, that's good to know.
Not only is Future Lab a perfect complement for Dickinson's liberal arts education, but it's actually the next logical step for our revolutionary college. Future Lab will use our existing strengths in global education, sustainable education, civic education, interdisciplinary and inclusive education to make us the institution best equipped to combine foresight, entrepreneurship, and the liberal arts. Dickinson has been leaning into the future since the 18th century. Future Lab will enable us to continue through the 21st and beyond.
Thank you, Damon. On a related note, we're going to move on to Emily. We know that the Data Science Initiative places a heavy emphasis on ethics. Could you talk a little bit about why you wanted to incorporate this into the project? And at first glance, it really seems to also emphasize quantitative competency. So can we delve into that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So, first, I think this is a really important question for everybody to understand. In our world, data and data analytics are becoming ubiquitous, and even in areas that we might not have initially imagined or envisioned. So it's truly critical that people learning about this discipline understand the ethical implications of their work. In today's society, people are constantly being bombarded by numbers and assume when they see these numbers that they're getting the whole picture. But in reality, this can be problematic because there are unforeseen issues if the designers of the data analysis and the data problems lack knowledge of the ethics. Data in and of itself is generated and collected by humans, so the inputs and the outputs in data analysis are subject to bias. Our goal in this process was to develop a major in which students can become critical consumers, users, explorers, and communicators of data, but importantly, with an eye towards understanding data in the context of ethics. In addition, we wanted the applications of this major to touch on issues of diversity and inclusion, income and wealth inequality, public health, and issues of security. So Dickinson is really in a unique position to provide this skill set in addition to the technical aptitude that is required for data analytics. And I really think that we are in the best position to prepare our future leaders to deal with data ethically in a way that can have a huge impact on society.
Thank you. The next question goes to you, Michael. Let's turn to leadership. It's a concept that everybody needs right now. This is a new way of learning in such a meaningful way, yet I feel like it's so intangible. Could you explain to us, the audience, and all the viewers who are watching, how Dickinson can expect this program will potentially impact the college's future financial prosperity?
That's the right question. It's the hard question. And I haven't been giving that a lot of thought over the past months. The financial prosperity of an organization, according to business theory, rests on competitive advantage. Competitive advantage arises when an organization can leverage its core competencies and establish a niche in a crowded, competitive environment. In turn, the organization, in part, will defend that niche by telling a compelling story. I think this program helps Dickinson sharpen its elbows and sharpen its story. Well, how so? Well, first, the program will be distinctive. The program adapts what I call a whole of community approach. This is different. The program will invite all members of the community and students to navigate the foundation program. The hope is that those who do so will think about their own individual values and will encourage students, colleagues, peers to also think about individual values like, loyalty, integrity, empathy. The hope is also that the people who navigate this program will have the courage to reach out to others who are different, to acknowledge them, to get to know them, to recognize them. And mutual recognition empowers people who are engaged in collaboration to find a common purpose. The program will be revolutionary. The third value is community value. The essence of community value is engaged citizenship. Leadership, citizenship, Benjamin Rush. Relationship-based leadership is essential to the challenges of the 21st century. The program will be adaptable. The concepts included in the foundation course are not the Bible. The hope is that people will truly familiarize themselves with those concepts. The expectation is that they will alter, adjust the concepts to their own areas of responsibility. I think the program is relevant. Dickinson has already wonderful competencies. It offers students wonderful opportunities for growth. And the program will span all existing domains. And by the way, as we have heard tonight, the program will be relevant to wonderful proposals such as those shared by my colleagues. And finally, the program will resonate. I think that anybody who takes the time to familiarize themselves with the concepts, and maybe even some members of the audience tonight already realize they have what it takes to be a relationship-based leader. That collection of attributes seems to me to be that it will appeal to future students, families, and by the way, donors.
Thank you. And Jen, your video briefly touched upon the Farm Lab and how it relates to the bigger world issues like food insecurity. Could you talk a little bit more about how the project could help with some major issues that are facing our world today?
Sure. So when the members of the Farm Lab team got together to start the process of envisioning a comprehensive farm-based facility, there were fundamental values that we really wanted to communicate through the design and function of Farm Lab that were tangible. So tangible solutions to issues like climate change, natural resource degradation, food insecurity, and a growing disconnect not only between consumers and their food system, but a general detachment from nature, which we believe in part contributes to the mounting levels of stress and anxiety that is pretty present in our communities right now. And so as a facility, Farm Lab kind of will be designed to be energy positive. And so what I mean by that is that it'll be designed for extreme energy efficiencies using technologies like passive solar principles and also renewable energy systems like photovoltaics and biogas. And there are other components of the building that we focus on natural resource conservation, like the video mentioned, gray water systems and green roofs, edible landscaping and biodiversity gardens, all of which have the capacity to allow Farm Lab to be a model for actually having a positive impact on the landscape. And in fact, what excites us most about Farm Lab is that it's a building of the future and a building that's capable of addressing real world issues now. But maybe even more valuable than the cool aspects and features of Farm Lab is actually the values that this facility has the ability to impart on its users. So the farm already teaches valuable skills, as Ikram so wonderfully touched on in his video, that are transferable, literally regardless of a student's trajectory after they graduate from Dickinson College. And so as a facility with tangible examples of solutions to issues that we are facing, Farm Lab really aims to teach students how solutions to real and troubling issues can be addressed and ultimately mitigated. And so by virtue of being a facility, Farm Lab guarantees greater impact because it guarantees the farm's ability to host and support greater amounts of classes and visitors. And also just to point on that the Farm Lab team also recognizes the role that the farm plays in facilitating opportunities for Dickinson students and faculty and staff to connect with the natural world and the food supply in a safe and a harmonious environment that is educationally oriented. And we've actually been able to see how the farm and its experiences that people have at the farm really help people unwind and rebalance. And we believe that the Farm Lab facility helps to make the farm more accessible by enabling more students to come to the farm, step away from campus, gain perspective, and maybe even gain more perspective on what they're learning in class. And we see that this really holds a lot of promise with kind of enhancing student well-being, but also academic productivity and ultimately student retention.
Fantastic. Let's switch gears for a moment. I want to focus now on the larger world for a moment and things that are happening, the current challenges that we're facing in terms of equity, in terms of access, diversity, and inclusion. These issues have taken a front seat, and rightfully so. Would each of you speak on the elements of diversity and inclusion in your projects? And we're going to start off with Jen now.
Sure. So since the beginning, the College Farm has really tried to provide a safe space for students to come and work, learn, and recreate. And core to our mission is that the farm be accessible to anyone who's interested in the work that is required to grow food for others. And so to us, nature is undiscerning, and the College Farm has worked hard to cultivate an equitable working and learning environment that is rooted in values like respect and acceptance, dialogue, and teamwork. And those are things that we really hold true on a day-to-day basis with the students that come out to the farm. And I'm super grateful for a lot of the students and faculty and staff and community members that have really helped us over the years grow our farm and our program by helping us kind of broaden our understanding and practices to clear barriers for accessing the farm and its resources. And so we recognize that not every student at Dickinson is going to be interested in the work of a production farm, and not every student is comfortable in a farm environment. So what makes Farm Lab unique to us is its ability to make learning and engagement accessible to all learners, and providing kind of opportunities for all types of students from all different academic disciplines, and kind of allow them to engage in an immersive exploration that is safe, but also in controlled environments as well as in natural environments. So to kind of cater to our different people's comfort zones. And in fact, values of inclusivity were actually woven into the design of Farm Lab. It's actually why it's such a flexible space. And in that space, it's really important to us that there's an expectation of inclusivity of its users. And so those are the things that we've been thinking about when putting Farm Lab together and wanted to share.
All right, fantastic, Jen. Damon, how about you? How would you answer that question?
Thanks. It's such an important question, but I can actually be pretty brief. Diversity and inclusion are fundamental to Future Lab. In fact, Future Lab will only succeed if it includes the greatest possible diversity. To engage the future, you need multiple lenses. You need diversity of thought, you need diverse stakeholders at the table, and you need to commit to working across difference. Diversity and inclusion are actually foundational to the theory and practice of strategic foresight. This is one reason that organizations like the UN are using foresight right now in regions of the world that are torn apart by civic and ethnic strife in order to advance sustainable development goals. It just doesn't make sense to try to engage the future without diverse constituencies included at the table.
Thank you, Damon. And Emily, how would you answer that, considering the challenges that people face when it comes to data sciences, diversity and inclusion? It seems like, does it fit in data sciences?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this for a moment. So, first, topics of diversity and inclusion and equity are going to be highlighted in many of the courses that we have proposed in this major, including the introductory course, the philosophy course, the discipline focus, and the senior seminar. In addition, we have worked on really trying to build connections with a diverse group of alumni, faculty, and other contacts that we can utilize for internships, summer research experiences, and on-campus partnerships. And perhaps most importantly, we will work very hard to make this major accessible and attractive to a diverse group of students. And I think that this will primarily happen through the interdisciplinary and highly collaborative nature of this major. Another way that we're thinking about doing this is by working closely with the Quantitative Reasoning Center on campus, which already has these shared goals of recruiting and of retaining a diverse group of students to highly quantitative majors. So we see this major as really being able to make a big contribution to the college's goals of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
All right, Emily, thank you. And finally, Michael, how would you implement the ideas and the elements of diversity and inclusion in your revolutionary challenge?
Thanks. Members of the Dickinson community have worked very hard the past few years to establish diversity, equity, and inclusion as a strategic pillar of Dickinson. And I think that admirable work will continue. I think that faculty will develop courses, and programs will be initiated. The program will recognize students making investments in those areas. Furthermore, the foundation course and conversations will be open to the entire Dickinson community, from faculty to administrators to coaches to staff to student employers. And so the conversation will be shared by the entire community, not just students. What I see is that the message will continue. And the leadership development program, with its emphasis on individual, group, and community values, will provide a wonderful connection point to those ideas. And those students, those people who participate, will be better prepared to internalize the message and the notions. That's what I say.
Thank you, Michael. And finally, as we're trying to wrap things up, as we continue our conversation here tonight, our audience has heard so many wonderful things, and this is going to be a tough one, I think. But if you had to think of three words you believe best captures or impacts the essence of your project, what three words would you want our audience to remember tonight? What would those words be? Michael, I'm going to go back to you and we're going to start this last line of questioning with you.
I've said them a few times. Uh, encourage, empower, engage.
Fantastic. Damon.
Revolutionary, not evolutionary.
Very well said. Emily.
Sure. I think the first word that comes to mind is interdisciplinary. And second, critical. And third, I would say transformative, and not just for our students, but for society as a whole.
And finally, Jen, what three words would you want to share with our audience?
So the first would be inspiration. The second word would be action. And the third word would be impact.
All right. I want to pass along some information. This whole conversation that we had tonight will be on the Revolutionary website tomorrow. Thank you so much for your insight this evening on behalf of the President's Panel on Innovation. I want to thank everyone who contributed to this incredible program and this incredible conversation that we had. And to you, our audience, thank you so much for logging on. And now this is the time that we get to hear from you. So shortly after this program, you're going to receive an email and it's going to be a link where you can actually cast your vote and you get to decide and really kind of lend your ideas to what is the greatest promise in our first ever Revolutionary Challenge. The winner will be announced in the next coming weeks on the Revolutionary Challenge website. Just think, this is going to be your second time to really make a change and let your voice be heard. It was an absolutely fantastic night. I want to thank you, and especially Damon, Emily, Michael, and Jen. It's been absolutely wonderful. And thank you so much for continuing the great work that Dickinson has so inspired so many of us as we continue on our journeys way after we leave campus. On behalf of the Dickinson community and everyone, I want to thank you very much and have a great night. And we'll see you. Cast your vote.